Good morning, everyone. All right. Well, here we are, Monday morning, back in the saddle. Friday was kind of a rough day for me. I finished in the red. However, I did end up having, all things considered, a decent recovery. I made back half of my losses, right? So I went down 46,000, and then I made back, 25. So I finished down around 23, 24,000, which was a red day, obviously, but not the end of the world. 46,000 wouldn't have been the end of the world either, but not bad, all things considered. So this was a good recovery. It was slow and steady. Each one of these are kind of like small trades. I made a good effort. I did the very best I could, and then when things started slowing down around 9:45 or whatever it was, 10 a.m., I said, all right, I just gotta let it be. So I was at peace with my P&L, and I'm okay with it again here today. So I'm just gonna let that be. Now, I was a little emotionally charged on Friday. Saturday was the 14-year anniversary of my dad passing away, and I 2 years ago had taken the second biggest loss of my career on that day. It's the first day of spring. And this is kind of a time of year that is tough for me because I just keep thinking about, I look outside, everything just sort of reminds me of that time in my life. And that was a really difficult time. So, yeah, I was mindful of that on Friday, and yet I still let myself get a little too aggressive on that first trade. And I want to carry that mindfulness today that, I'm still probably working with a little bit of a shorter fuse than I might ordinarily be, just because of that. If we look back at my P&L over the last 3 weeks, I had a really nice stretch in February, but then March has kind of been a little slower. It just has been. I don't know why. It just has been. So I've had two $75,000 days. My best day last week was 47,000, but I had two red days, one on Monday and then another one on Friday. So I'm kind of waiting, to be honest, for that next kind of big move. I mean, if we look at sort of the 60-day, you can see how we have these cycles where it's kind of hot and then it's cold, and then it's really hot and then it's kind of cold, and then it's hot and then it's kind of cold. So I'm waiting for the heat to come back. I'm waiting for that hot momentum, and I don't know if it's going to be today. However, we do have a gapper up 273% right now. SPRT. This is pretty big. This is a big gapper. So let's break down this stock as sort of the first one we'll look at today. So it's up, as I said, 273%. It's got a 16.5 million share float. Let's check short interest on it. So the short interest, let's see, I have is only 38,000 shares here, which is a very, very low, basically negligible amount of short interest. I'm going to see now. The thing is, over here on FinViz, I see it at 38%. That's showing significantly higher. So different data providers have different numbers there. That's hard to say for sure exactly what it is. It's always a little bit of a challenge, but okay, so there's some discrepancy there. Not sure exactly what it is, but the relative volume is 55,000 times higher than normal. 55,000 times higher than normal. The volume on this yesterday was 82,000 shares, and the volume today is already 45 million shares. All right, so we've got some headlines here. It's a merger agreement. Let's see. I want to read this a little bit more closely. Huh. That's interesting, for sure. Announced merger agreement. First publicly traded mining company. Wow. Wow. Okay. Now, I'll say that merger agreements are not always my favorite catalyst. Wouldn't really expect a merger agreement to be a catalyst that drives a stock up quite this much, but so support.com will become a wholly owned subsidiary. Huh, interesting. It's good cost. Yeah, it is Bitcoin related. That's for sure. So, what are your thoughts, folks, on that catalyst? It doesn't seem like I'm a little bit kind of like that's interesting, but clearly the market's receiving it well. So this trend line here I think is valid. It taps here, so we've got 3 taps both on resistance and then on the other side. Coming back down here, you could see how we're kind of in this little wedge pattern. Resistance obviously at $9. So, ultimately it's the technicals of the chart that really drive the opportunity as an intraday day trader. So let's see. Let me just look at this chart a little bit on the daily. Good amount of price history. A split back in 2016, it looks like. Originally, the stock started trading in the year 2000, so it's been trading for 21 years. All-time highs are like $100, but that's adjusted because of a split. The daily chart's not really giving me anything super interesting. I don't know. It's kind of like I don't see too many super obvious levels. I guess there's one kind of right in here from 945 up to 1026, but that's not a huge window. And then up to 11, and then up to 1185. Then you kind of get something in here. So, I would say those are kind of levels to look at. It seems a little choppy on the intraday. Sort of these big candles, drops down, then it comes back up, and then a false breakout right there at 1025. So this was a false breakout. It attempted to break through the high, failed, and then came back down below the low of the recent pullback. So now you've got this consolidation sort of above this support level here. But right in this area, it's fairly choppy. It's in a tight range. It is easy to borrow at light speed. So, the availability of shares to borrow could make it more popular from the perspective of short selling. As a reminder for those tuning in on YouTube and Facebook, thank you guys for tuning in this morning. Let me pop up my disclaimer as a reminder, in case you didn't already know, that trading is risky. Most beginner traders lose money. You should assume that you'll also lose money as a beginner. And with that in mind, trade in a simulator before you put real money on the line. Do yourself a favor. If you can't prove yourself profitable in a simulator, why trade with real money? All right, so let's see. I'll pop up this disclaimer right there too. So I would agree that it is, coiling in this area. The high there is 821. The first 5-minute candle to make a new high is also right around 821. I'm just concerned that I just don't know if it's going to really make a big move here. The next level is 850 and then 903. So if I took an entry here and I'm hesitating because my first trade of the day, I usually want to feel pretty high level of conviction on it. So, that's good to see. It's popping up there. It broke through 21 nicely, and I missed it. That one went without me. Now let's see whether or not it just rejects or it actually holds this level. The volume profile's a little confusing because you've got a couple bigger red volume candles. I would say at this point, breaking over 850 is probably the level that we want to see in order to potentially get a retest of the high. And look at that flush right back to 8. So, you could maybe get into dip trades on it. But like I've said, I don't usually like the dip trade to be my first trade of the day. Dip trades are riskier. You're buying into that weakness. That may be a better strategy for this particular stock, but I think that it's a little risky. Okay, so I'm going to put this one over on the side, SPRT. It's up quite a lot, but right now I'm not feeling super dialed in on it. The price action seems a little choppy. It doesn't seem super clean. Catalyst I'm not really sure about, so let's put that one aside for a second. The second leading gapper is DYAI. So this one squeezed from 550 all the way up to 1074 and then back down to 7. It's currently below the VWAP. All right, so develop vaccines against COVID-19 variants. Okay, so let's see. The level 2 on this one's also easy to borrow. The float is 19 million shares. This kind of seems like a catalyst that I'm not super into since there are already vaccines out, and you would think it would be the companies that actually produced a successful vaccine for the main virus that would be the ones producing ones for the variants. So I don't think that this is, I'm not into that catalyst. SNCA. Again, chart's most important, but the chart also doesn't look that great because it's back below the VWAP. It was a kind of pop and drop. It popped up and then came back down. SNCA, 17 million share float. This doesn't look good either. It went up and then came back down. AVCO, my goodness. Hold on. All right. This one expands co-development program with MIT to combat cancer. Okay. On the surface, that sounds good. Of course, this is a cheaper stock, AVCO. I don't usually like these cheaper ones. I'm going to leave that alone. CETX, volume's a little lighter on it as well. So if a stock is fueled purely by a short squeeze, then you're right that the news doesn't really matter all that much. I don't see anything right now that kind of meets that criteria. I mean, you're right that 270% is a big move on SPRT. And so this one, even though the news is kind of like, I'm not sure, it could end up doing a short squeeze and making a big move. However, right now, the price action is telling me it's choppy. So it's actually more the price action that's keeping me out. DYAI, you're right, potentially. I suppose you could get a short squeeze on that. I could check the short interest on it just to see where it's at. It's only 3%. So, but the chart itself doesn't look good because it's not holding those levels. So it really, I think the issue here is the charts aren't super strong. And then given the fact that the catalyst is sort of weak, I think it's sort of just those two are combining. EDSA, again, not a great chart. So, we're sitting here at 9 a.m. It looks like, what was it, AVCO that had news that came out at 9? Yeah, so we had a 9 a.m. headline on AVCO. SPRT, the high of this last candle at 838 could be a potential trigger, I guess I would say, but I don't love that it's a topping tail. So it has that sort of big upper candle wick because it squeezed up and then came back down. Those of you guys on YouTube and Facebook, if you have a favorite today or one that I haven't looked at, call it out. RLX. Yeah, it's a recent IPO, but look at that sell-off. That doesn't look great. GameStop, I'll look at it. I don't really see anything on that at the moment. ACER. Don't like that red candle from a couple days ago. SGMO, creeping up a little bit. Had a nice move on Friday. Yeah, lighter on volume though. I don't think it's an obvious stock. CLVS from last Friday, yeah. AMC. No, not for day trading to me. So it doesn't seem like there's any kind of consensus of the one today. Sort of different things people are looking at, but and the fact is you have in this one, this is 3 1-minute candles in a row where it squeezed from 8 to 9. 3 1-minute candles in a row. So, you know, being able to catch a move like that sure would be nice. I'm not sure that, you know, that's a timing issue. When might that happen? Will it happen? I don't know. It happened once. It could happen again, but will it? I'm not sure. So I'm going to maybe, let's see. I want to just kind of step back and see where I'm sitting on the month here. Where's my trader view? All right, so sitting on the month of March right now, this is my P&L. So I've got, let's see, gross profit of $272,000, net profit of $229,000, which is good. Average about $17,000 a day. That. I mean, all things considered, that's very good. That is a little lower than my daily average from January and February, which was at $29,000 a day. So this month has been a little slower. However, I have also managed to avoid a really big drawdown, although I've had some red trades. Obviously, I haven't, if we look back at the last few months, I had gotten into these kind of habits of taking a good size loss at the first couple days or week of the month. So I went red in January, then I went red in February, and now this has been March, just kind of like grinding, which all things considered, I'm actually okay grinding on smaller numbers than having huge wins and then huge losses. Grinding on smaller numbers is less stressful. And hey, $200,000 in 1 month is terrific. That's fantastic. So maybe I'm making a little bit less this month than, I don't know, in January, but I'm making it with less stress. So the stress metric is not just inherently visible, but I can guarantee you that going red on the year by 150,000 is stressful, and then giving back 300 grand is very stressful. So fortunately, March has been a little bit smoother, but of course I was red on Friday, so I want to be mindful that I try to find something that's really obvious today. If we don't have anything that's really obvious, it's possible that I would, it'd certainly be better off not to trade than to trade something of poor quality. The volume weighted average price on this, which is kind of the next thing I'm looking at, is at 734. So this can sell off to 734 and still potentially be bullish. So I would say today's probably a good day to exercise a little bit of discipline. For those that may have been red on Thursday or Friday, towards the end of last week, like me, it always feels important to try to get the new week off to a decent start and, kind of try to get things pointed in the right direction. So waiting for that really clean, obvious setup. I don't see an obvious 5-minute pattern on this. I don't really see an ABCD pattern. It's generally consolidating in this area. If it did break over 850 or maybe 838, that would be a pivot, but it would require chasing a little bit. It's just not, if it breaks over 9, that would be a place you'd expect a breakout, but that's not a great entry if it just squeezes up right to 9. So unfortunately, I have to wait for a better setup. It's good right here to see that it sold off there and recovered. Again, could have done a dip trade there, I suppose, but it's not really what I feel like. The first candle to make a new high on the 5 is 810. So we're kind of coming up to that level, but then that's also this yellow resistance level is kind of going to be right at it. So I just don't know. Not in love with this one. Warrior Pro students, by the way, the 2021 classes that we taught from January through February and finished in March are uploaded. We have uploaded all of the classes. We will be adding in the PDFs and the quizzes at the end of each chapter. So we're still building it out. And there will be more student interviews coming in chapter 17. So we'll keep you guys posted when those get uploaded. But thank you guys who all tuned in. We had just a terrific round of classes. It was awesome. It was really fun. I mean, I think it was the best round of classes we've had so far, and I thank you guys for being part of it. It was a great time. So those classes were recorded, archived. Go back and rewatch them. The dip setup chapter was 3 hours long just for the dip trade. It's one of the parts of the momentum chapter. Just that one strategy is a 3 hour long class. It is comprehensive with a lot of examples. So if you're unfamiliar with the dip trade or you want to learn more about it, that's a good place to start. But I did say at the beginning of that chapter that dip trading is difficult because it's not intuitive. Buying when something is dropping is not intuitive. And it's not like an ABCD pattern or a first candle to make a new high where there's an obvious apex point, like the line in the sand where we get in. It's not like that with a dip trade. Dip trades are more complicated. So the easier ones for most beginners would be a strategy where you have a precise entry, such as the first candle to make a new high. And even for me right now, that's kind of what I'm looking for. I'm looking for something that does look extremely obvious for my first trade. I want to be confident in that first trade. Yes, dip trades for me were a big part of my gains in 2020. Absolutely. Yeah, it was something I started getting comfortable with. And, it's interesting because I had to adapt a little bit. I struggled at the beginning of the year, and during March I struggled, and then I started to get really comfortable with these dip trades, and I just started really nailing them, and that became a huge game changer because all of a sudden I could take a starter on a dip and then add into the breakout, and now scale up with bigger size. And of course the volume in the market allowed for that as well. I'm waiting right now for kind of the next big momentum stock. SPRT right now doesn't feel juicy enough. I mean, we're trading within a fairly tight range. I think unfortunately it's just, I don't know, it seems choppy. So I don't feel confident getting in on breakouts, and I don't really feel that interested in buying the dips on it, so I'm just kind of leaving it alone. So we'll see, as it gets a little higher up, if it can start to consolidate underneath 838, 850, that might be something I'd be more interested in, because that would be showing a bit more strength, and then maybe a realistic attempt at 9. I just don't see it right now. So here, you see again, it's popping up, it's moving without me, it's fine. I'm just gonna wait. So you can see here, these are my trades. No trades yet today. I'm at 0 for the day. 0 in my main account, 0 in my retirement account. So both are sitting at 0. 0 trades on the day. 0 trades is better than red trades. Which one, Richard? Are you talking about SPRT? Okay. Yeah, and you had some really nice moves on it early, and then kind of from like 8 a.m. on, 8:15, it's just been in this really choppy range. Although you could say that it's probably accumulated some short sellers who think it's going to fail. They might cover over 850. It's also probably accumulated some dip traders who are thinking it's a long for a break over 850 and through 9. So this is a coiling kind of pattern. It's a long consolidation. Maybe, maybe if it opens up through 850, it would be better. We'll see. My daily chart appears to be working on this. Have it at day. Of course, it doesn't show anything for today until it starts trading. I guess, I don't know if you can turn on pre-market. I don't do that. Some platforms maybe do, but this is, in any case, SPRT, our obvious gapper. It's still up 278%, which is certainly bullish. The high of that candle there was 824. Notice how it tapped that yellow line. So it's got to break through this yellow line. If it can break through 824, 825, then maybe we have a shot at a test of 838. I'd like to see whether or not it really starts to coil and ascend through this area, breaking through this yellow line, breaking through the high of 838, and then that's when we're kind of looking for, okay, where might we have these types of 3 big green candles? Could it be on a break of 850 and then, to 9? Maybe. I'm not sure though, given what we're currently seeing in it. But that's what I'd be looking for. So yeah, each of these big candles were like 30, 40 cents. I mean, that's the type of candle that you want to be holding through. High of this was 24. So you see it popped up to 24, then a big red candle, and it flushes back down. And then it slowly curls back up. So 24, 25, could that be a starter? It would be an attempt at a break through this descending or this ascending red line. It's just a little tricky. Let's try drawing a line here also. Let's look at this. We've got another one that I just realized right here. That's going to hold us down too. So we've got 2 lines holding us down. We've got to break through both of them. So that kind of puts a ceiling on it. And perhaps at the open we get a dip. That could provide a better entry, maybe. As it sells off here, you see it doesn't really have any logical support other than the whole dollar until way down here. So could there be a half dollar, whole dollar dip right here? Let's see if it holds 8. I'll do a dip there at 804. Usually I don't like to dip off the whole dollar, but as my first trade, but I'm going to do it. Dip there at 804. And then what I can do is I can add over 820. So I'll put a new order to add. My order will be at 825. So I'm trying to buy the bottom of that red candle, kind of like this sell-off here, and then let it ascend back up, and then over 820 and 830. Looking for an add on a break through this area right here. So let's see if this wants to break through and squeeze up a little bit more. We've got 805 on the bid, 806 on the ask. Adding at 806, so cost basis is still 804. And I'm just going to cut it there for a $600 loss. So, you know, right on my first trade, it either works or it doesn't. But that's a small loss. For me, that's manageable. But you can see why dip trades are a little tricky because, you know, you're buying into that weakness. It either works right away or it doesn't. And I could have taken the small profit. I could have sold it at 810 or 812 and been up 600 bucks, but you know. I'm looking for a little more than that. About 10 minutes to the bell. Acer, ACER. So I don't like that it's sold off so much. That's my main issue with it. It's sold off too much. Yep, I see DYAI breaking the VWAP there, which is good. There's some good volume on that as it's crawling back up. Again, as I said, I'm a little skeptical on it. It's easy to borrow. It seems like the catalyst is sort of like, So I'll keep DYAI over on one chart, SPRT on this one. We've got 8 minutes to the bell. We'll see if we get a dip and a rip at the open, if it pulls back and then pops back up, but I'm just not sure if that's going to happen. The DYAI chart, you can see that one here. Let me just put this like this actually. So it hit a high there of 780. It's a nice move. I mean, that's a nice candle there from 732 up to 780. It's a break of the VWAP. So the question is, does it hold above it? Right? It tapped the VWAP here and faded. It broke it here, and if it gets right back below it, then it's a fade. The high of this candle is 780. So we would need to see it get over 788, 790 to prove that it's really holding these levels. So the high of that candle there is 80, 2 million shares of volume. I took a trade there long. I'm going to try to buy it because it's holding that level. And new order will be at 810. So it's holding the VWAP. And then if it can get over 825, that's where it looks better. So I'm going to look to add. Watching. Just holding right now, looking for an add. It looks like 803, 804 could be an add spot. Adding there at 804. So nice trade there. Took a little off the table into that breakout. Makes back the first loss. The high of that candle is 813. New order is at 814. If it holds 8 right here on this dip, adding back at 804. So just added right there at 804. I'm buying the dip because it's holding 8 and now looking for the break through 814, 815 and a squeeze up to 825. Once they start holding these levels, that's when I start to size up a little bit more. High of that candle is 813. I took a little off the table as it hit that level and didn't break. Can we break 14? If you see on the 10-second chart, it's kind of tapping its head here at 814. New order at 820. Sold the rest. I'm going to look for a dip trade. Added at 99 for a dip. We've got a red candle there. It's a candle wick though. So if it gets now over 810, 814, take another stab at the break through the high. Watching. Added there at 13. So now looking for the squeeze through 820. It's up 52%, which is pretty good. So there's 12, 13, 14, 15 on the ask. I want to see 16, 17, and 18. I'm just going to hit it at 2 for a small loss. This right here on the 10-second chart, it should have broken to not just by 2 cents, it should have gone quite a bit higher right there. And now what we end up having is a slight false breakout where it broke 14 and went to 16, a 2-cent false breakout, and then a pullback. But this is our second leading gapper. Even though I'm not crazy about the catalyst, the strength of the break of VWAP is worth a trade. So $600 loss on SPRT, a $2,600 winner on DYAI puts me up $2,000 on the morning. With about 4 minutes to the bell. And this dip got bought up as well. The low there double bottomed at 92. That could have been a good dip trade. The volume weight average price is at 770, so we're a bit high off that level. Let's see whether or not it can hold up here. So I just have my order ready and just watching it. So there it just went without me up to 28 and 30. Nice. High there's 28. New orders at 30. Added at 28. Now I'm going to look for 38 and a squeeze up to 40. So that's a micro pullback right underneath the highs. Looking for that ascension. There's 34. Can we get 35 and 36? No, I'm selling at break even in a little high. Well, maybe a small winner, but not a substantial win. High is 35. Let it pull back again. We're getting very close to the open here. So we've got 2 minutes to the bell. So I'm going to put up my disclaimer as a reminder again for those on YouTube, in case you haven't seen it already, if you're just tuning in. Thank you, by the way, for tuning in. I hope you've hit the thumbs up and that you're maybe subscribed to the channel. So there's the disclaimer as a reminder that trading is risky. Most beginner traders lose money, so you should approach this with a perspective that you have a high likelihood of losing, and with that in mind, trade in the simulator. Practice with pretend money before you put real money on the line. We're going to keep trading here. In about 90 seconds when the bell rings, we'll be watching SPRT and DYAI. Those are the two that are on watch right now. DYAI has been moving a little bit more, so that one might be the better one to focus on, but SPRT is still up 270%, so maybe we'll get some more action on that one too. We're sitting right now at 814,000 subscribers on YouTube. Thank you guys all for being part of the community and hitting the thumbs up. I really appreciate it. And I will see you guys first thing tomorrow morning. We're going to keep trading here as soon as the bell rings.